Welcome. Today, we're going to dive into something really fascinating: how we can find a much deeper, more personal connection to sacred texts just by taking a closer look at the words themselves. You know that feeling, right? You're reading a phrase you've heard a million times, but you just know there's something more to it. It's like there's this thin veil between you and the real, deep meaning of the words. So, how do we get past that veil? Well, the source material we're looking at today suggests there are actually a few distinct layers we need to work through to really understand the text.
Okay, so you've got the literal translation, the word-for-word meaning, you might even get the grammar. And honestly, that's where most of us stop. But the real magic, the part that can completely change your perspective, is in that fourth layer, the semantic layer. That's where the deep, interconnected meaning lives. And the key to unlocking it is this really powerful idea. The Quran is basically its own dictionary. It's not just about looking up a word in a separate book. The text itself defines its own terms, building this incredible web of meaning through context, through other words it uses, and, this is super cool, by showing us what a word is not.
All right, let's put this idea into practice. We're going to take a look at a word from a phrase you've definitely heard: RABB. Now, you'll almost always see this translated simply as Lord. But is that the whole story? Not even close. So let's go back in time a bit. Before Islam, the word Rabb was already a part of everyday language. It meant the head of the family, the boss, the one who had the final say and was responsible for everyone. But then the Quran takes this concept that everyone already understood and just blows it up. It expands it in this incredible way. It's not just about being the boss anymore. Rabb becomes the sustainer, the nurturer, the protector, the one who helps things grow and develop. It's the ultimate caretaker, responsible for, well, everything. And here's where it gets really interesting. The emphasis is on active responsibility. This is not a hands-off kind of role. This idea of Rabb totally flips the script on the whole creator who made the universe and then went on vacation idea. No way. This is about a Rabb who is constantly, consciously, and actively involved in every single aspect of creation, all the time. And remember how we said the Quran defines things by their opposites? Well, here's a perfect example. The Rabb is the sole authority, which is the exact opposite of divided authority, or shirk. And it's an ever-present caretaker, the opposite of abandonment. It's about ultimate responsibility, not passing the buck. Seeing what it isn't makes what it is crystal clear. So what's the big takeaway here? Understanding this has a huge psychological impact. It shifts the relationship to one built on total trust and emotional safety. It's this deep-seated feeling that you are being cared for, that you haven't just been left on your own. And that can eliminate a lot of anxiety. Okay, so that's Rabb. Now let's look at the second part of the phrase, Alameen. This is going to build on what we've just learned in a really cool way. Alameen is usually translated as the worlds. Simple enough, right? But if you dig into its Arabic root, you find the word alam, which means a sign, something that points you toward knowledge. See where this is going? So we're not just talking about planets or galaxies here. Alameen refers to all the different realms of existence, the ones we can see and the ones we can't even begin to imagine. And if each of these realms is an alam, a sign, then that means every single piece of creation is pointing back to its creator. The universe itself is a giant signpost. And this term really embraces this idea of immense diversity. We're talking about different beings, maybe with totally different physical laws, different ways of being. It hints at a creation that is way more vast and varied than our human minds can even grasp. Okay, so we've looked at Rabb and we've looked at Alameen. Now for the fun part, let's put them together and see what happens. So we started with RABB ALAMEEN, meaning Lord of the Worlds. Again, that's not wrong. It's just the tip of the iceberg. It's beautifully incomplete. But now, when we put our deeper understanding together, what do we get? The ever-present, responsible nurturer of all diverse realms of existence, which are themselves signs of his presence. Wow, that is so much more dynamic and personal, isn't it? It completely changes the feeling. And that right there is the whole point. This isn't just a fun language exercise. A seemingly small shift in understanding a couple of words can totally redefine your relationship with the divine. It's the difference between a distant, powerful king and a constant, personal, and responsible caretaker. So this method of letting the text define itself is like a key, and we just used it to unlock one door. But imagine how many other familiar words are out there, just holding a universe of meaning inside them, waiting for you to unlock them. Makes you wonder, what else is waiting to be discovered?